What's up, YouTube? It's me, the Artisan MC, and today I'm going to review Ahsoka Episode 3, Time to Fly. Well, this episode checks in as the shortest episode in the last 3 episodes at 30-something minutes. And sure enough, it ends in a way that shows you that the episode is short on material and long on trying to tantalize you, do smoke and mirrors with, fights and stuff like that. Where's my feeling on this episode? My initial feeling is I do not like Hera Syndulla having a son named Jason. I don't like that shit at all. Reason why I don't like it is because Jason, Jacen, is Jason Solo from Legends canon. Now, they have picked and vultured this character to death, in my opinion. Kylo Ren is a reworking and an abomination of what Jason Solo in Legends canon is. That's what he was. That's all he was a remake of Jason Solo. Now, I like Kylo Ren for his turn because of all the characters in the sequel series. He's one of the ones who had an actual arc, which was interesting. He makes that whole 3 movies actually interesting if you just want to watch him. Okay? Starts dark, conflicted, turns back to the light side, dies giving his life for some other Mary Sue. He at least has an arc, okay? But I always knew from inception he was modeled on and taken from Jason Solo from Legends canon, which I love. Darth Caedus is a beast, but he's a beast with a reason behind why he's a beast. Now, seeing Hera Syndulla's kid, I didn't even know she had a kid. So seeing the kid show up and then mention it, and I'm like, oh, Jason. I'm like, Jason who? Jason Syndulla? No, I'm not buying that. I don't like that because it takes more away from a really good character to piece him up into other characters. I do not like that shit. I don't. It's really wearing on me. That's wearing on me. Now, most of this episode deals with what you would consider girl badassery, meaning Hera Syndulla has a conversation with Mon Mothma, the Chancellor of the New Republic. And I like this part here because they used the same actress that showed up in Andor as Mon Mothma. I actually really like that. I really like that nod to using the same actress in this. I don't have a problem with her being a chancellor. It's the New Republic. It is what the hell it is, right? But the conversation Hera has as a general with these senators was a little bit of a I threw my nuts on the table. What did you do with one of the senators? And whereas I can appreciate that being a military officer talking to somebody who was just a politician during this whole war thing, I can respect that. It's kind of played too much like she's just outmanning him, like he is really just intimidated by this little green Twi'lek because she was in the battle and he wasn't. Like, really? Your whole planet got enslaved and turned into a slave race. Get the fuck off of it. I mean, for real. Get off it. So, while I was not liking that, the scene kind of did work for me. I got an actual acting performance from Mary Elizabeth Winstead as Hera Syndulla, which carried a little bit of emotion in it. It just means she's a decent actress. So I like that. Obviously, don't have a problem with her standing up there in a flight suit because she got a nice butt. And apparently, the cameraman and the director knows that, so they're making sure they show that often. Whatever. Be that as it may, the rest of the episode is comprised with Ahsoka and Hu Yang, trying to get Sabine Wren back into her training as a Jedi Padawan. Now, I don't have a problem with the training part. I don't have a problem with it. I like that they're showing some of the forms. They're giving a name to some of the forms and having her go through it. The Zatoichi, or what is she called? A Zochi training, blind swordsman training. I know samurai stuff. That's Zatoichi. But okay, cool. Whatever the fuck. Sabine given the same line that Luke Skywalker gave when Obi-Wan gave him his first lesson on the Falcon. Not bad. It's a regurg, but it's kind of a homage. Okay? So in that sense, it doesn't rub me the wrong way. The training in and of itself, using no, droid, but just using Ahsoka, ninja footing around Sabine, is good training, but it shows me that Sabine really doesn't have any fucking attunement to the Force at all. And it really makes me wonder, why the fuck are you training her again? What's the the draw? And I'm wondering if this is something I have to pick up from watching the Rebels or something. Do I have to go back and watch a whole season of another show to understand the 5 minutes in this show? Which seems stupid. But she ain't really getting it. She gets in some good shots. She gets in some good blocks and deflections, which means she's feeling it a little bit. But as Ahsoka teaches her, she's feeling it through her anger and frustration, which is the path to the dark side. It is. Yeah, it's the path to the dark side. So you might not want to draw on that to start sensing people around you. Could be kind of problematic. Unless you try to go full Sith, in which case I'm for that too. But you got to know where the line is and which side you're trying to pull on. Now, the rest of this episode is basically that. It's basically a training op for Sabine. Because everything they're going through, trying to push the story along, serves as training for Sabine to show and convince the audience that she knows what she's doing and she's good at some things. Which is what, as far as I know, the first and the second episode showed. So, who's the star of this show? Is it Ahsoka or is it Sabine? You let me know. It's the third episode. So who's the star? Do I need to give a shit about Sabine? I mean, I thought she was one of the prominent characters in Rebels. Do I need to go back and watch that whole show to find out how capable she is at doing whatever the fuck she's capable at doing? Or can I just watch this show and get what I'm supposed to be getting out of it, which is Ahsoka's capabilities and her quest to get to Grand Admiral Thrawn, which doesn't seem to be a problem right now since he's off stuck in another goddamn galaxy. Don't really seem to be an issue. Seems to me if you take out Morgan and these random non-Sith, non-Jedi fucking Force users, you should be good. You should be pretty good. He ain't coming nowhere back anytime soon, so should be Gucci. Now, since they're on this training op, and Hera put a beacon or a tracker on the transport ship that was bringing the last hyperdrive engine to Morgan, conveniently, they end up on close to Denab and getting a little scrape with Shin and Marok and some other of the fighters that all seem like they flying fighters that may have came from The Last Exile, because they all look like some old roadster, like General Grievous was driving. But be that as it may, they're there. They're having a little dogfight scene, and most of this episode rounds out with the dogfight for them. Right? Another Luke Skywalker callback of jumping in the ship and jumping in the gun turret and having to target fighters as they're coming in. Another callback, another regurgitation. This is the third video, y'all. You guys already know how I feel about that outside of just these 3 videos. Okay. I'm not a fan of that shit. It's boring the fuck out of me. But be as it may, we have to have Sabine in the cockpit, in the turret, laying down some shots on a couple of fighters. Cool. The only thing that's bothering me about this is that the villain fighters are shooting green lasers and the heroic fighters are shooting red. That bothers me. Reason that bothers me is green is usually the color of Jedi. Green is usually the color of Jedi. And red is traditionally the color of Sith or dark side users. So the dark side users shooting green lasers is not exactly right to me. Seems a little messed up. Now, I have to go back in my memory. I believe that in New Hope, Luke Skywalker shooting lasers at the TIE fighters and stuff like that were coming in the turret, that the bolts were red. I have to go back and check. I think they were red or yellow or some shit like that. Either way, the green lasers coming out of the villain's craft bothered me. It just doesn't feel right for Star Wars. It just doesn't feel right for Star Wars. Be that as it may, they have a decent dogfight scene where Ahsoka, Sabine, and Huyang are trying to get data off of this ring that they discovered, even though Huyang, I guess, was at the Jedi Temple and doesn't say, damn, that looks like a Jedi hyperspace ring. He never says that shit. He still needs to do a scan. But whatever the fuck. They get to see the ring. They get to understand what's happening with this ring. And they get, kind of hit by some of their turbo lasers because the ring is not defenseless. The hyperdrive may not be working. Excuse me. But the turbo lasers work damn well, even though their accuracy could stand an improvement. They work pretty damn well. They end up hitting the ship. And for a moment, Ahsoka goes out onto the hull of the ship in spacesuit with her lightsabers ignited in no atmosphere. Cool. And deflects the blaster bolts coming in at the ship, which is kind of cool. But we also get another callback to a woman flipping over a ship, coming at her and cutting a wing or something like that off with a lightsaber, which just takes me back to that unfavorite movie, Rise of Skywalker. And the big sales pitch of, look, Rey jumped over a TIE interceptor. Like, I don't give a fuck. Why is it down there? Why is it going after her? Pretty much I got the same shit. So once again, another regurgitated scene. I think that makes 3 in this episode again. So third episode, 3 regurgitated scenes again. I'm unplussed by this shit. I'm really unplussed by this shit. Now, while Ahsoka fighting on the hull of the ship looks kind of cool, I don't like the regurgitated scenes. I don't. It's not doing anything for me. Now, I also felt a little bit of peril for these characters when they are flying towards this hyperspace and the turbo lasers are in trying to train in on them and shoot them down. Okay, I felt a little something. I was a little concerned. And they got hit when they probably should have got hit a lot more, a lot sooner. But it is what the hell it is. I mean, I saw Poe drop bombs on the ship that was just laying out every other starship around them. So apparently, this is KK Star Wars at this point. They make land, you end up finding out that it's the same planet as the star map was on in the last episode. So part of their evasion technique goes through the fog, and in the fog they find the star whales, which I call the space whales, which makes more sense to me. So the star whales are on this planet in the fog. Apparently they're making their unspecified migration to this other galaxy, and the eye of the Scion's eye is in perfect position to hyperspace and I guess follow these whales wherever the hell they go into this other galaxy. Now, this other galaxy thing is an interesting point to throw in there by Dave, because to me, the other galaxy is a plot device. And here's how. If you want to get away from all the arguments, the infighting, the hurt feelings and everything of the Star Wars universe, because you keep going in and fucking it up, the best thing that you can do is, one, make your next story way out in the future, Taika Waititi, or pull it out of this galaxy far, far away altogether and put it into a galaxy further, further away. That's what I see happening. He's trying to get away from having the continuity problems that exist by making a story in this galaxy, in the galaxy far, far away. He's trying to move the story into a galaxy further, further away, so he can do whatever the hell he wants over there, and nobody can complain about the lightsabers aren't the right color. That's not how Jedis act. That's not how Sith act, because the people that are involved in this story so far, they're not Jedi and they're not Sith. Ahsoka walked away from the Order. Balin Skull and his apprentice ain't really Jedi, but they ain't really Sith. That's why they get orange sabers. So instead of a Rebel Moon scenario, this is your Rebel Galaxy. Okay? This is what's happening. It gets you away from having to deal with those arguments about that shit, because it's happening in a different galaxy. So it can work completely different. You can change all kind of shit then and still slap the Star Wars banner on it, because they came from that regular Star Wars galaxy into this one. That is a plot contrivance, folks. To me, that's a plot contrivance. So you get away from having to do the hard work of telling a story future forward in the galaxy far, far away. And you get to play around over here in the galaxy further, further away, doing your own bullshit. That can be incongruous as fuck. And nobody can complain about it, because it's not that galaxy anymore. That's why he wants to go there. It is a fertile playground, so you don't have to abide by any of George Lucas's rules, mandates, or ideas that he set up for making the original universe, which I find kind of funny, being that you're supposed to be such a fan and such an acolyte, pun intended, of George Lucas, that you want to get as far away from his influence as possible to do your own shit. Which just gets back to what I said, which one of my problems with Dave Filoni is he just wants to play with his own toys in the Star Wars universe. At that point, you should be making up your own fucking universe. Maybe you should have started your own thing and made that up. Then it doesn't have to have the Star Wars banner on the top of it. but you still want to use lightsabers and light speeders and all the rest of this shit, right? Got you. You know, back in 1992, I made some superhero characters of my own design, my own creation. And I wanted those characters to go into the Milestone universe, right? Wrote a letter and everything to Milestone. They could have worked at Marvel as well, right? But in no way in me making those characters did I ever think that those characters coming into any one of those universes needed to branch off from that universe into their own shit. Never. They would be part and parcel in that universe. They'd have to be. Because I'd want them tied in with what's going on there. I wouldn't try to springboard that universe off into my own shit, or I would just make what I call the Twisted Vision universe. That's just what it would be. Separate. All together. What I see Dave doing is a little bit of insurrection from within. Yeah, you know all the Star Wars stuff. So you can weave your characters all through it. And then as soon as your characters are all in it, you transform everything into your vision of what you think Star Wars should be in another galaxy with your characters at the center. The fulcrums. To me, this is kind of a massive insult to George Lucas. Because what at this point it says you're doing is you're not trying to perpetuate what he created anywhere. You're just trying to use it as a cloak and a springboard to tell your own shit, to make your own galaxy and universe of characters, which is something you should have just did on your fucking own. That's what actual creative people do. Now, that is my opinion on episode 3. And I'll keep this review short because he kept the fucking episode short. One good turn deserves another. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. Like, share, subscribe to the channel. Support the stream if you feel so inclined. $artisanmc on Cash App or artisanmc on PayPal. And I will see you guys next week for the next episode of How We Can Fuck Over George Lucas's Legacy. Brought to you by Dave Filoni. See you guys next time.